Hello pageant family, I'm the pageant nerd. Thanks for joining me. I thought I would just do a quick post-pageant thoughts after Miss Universe 2023. I will do my comprehensive wrap-up, which will be full of all the stats and facts that you come to expect from me. But I thought, having just watched the pageant, like I'm sure so many of you have, that I would give you some of my initial thoughts. So here we go. Well, given the fact that there's been a fair bit of turbulence with Miss Universe in the past couple of days, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's the announcement that Paula Shugart, the longtime president of the Miss Universe organisation, has announced her resignation from her role and that this was her final pageant. So there seem to have been some hidden messages in the speech that she gave during the National Costume Show on Thursday. So one would assume that there'll be more news coming out of that, noting that Esther Swan, who is the long-time talent manager for Miss Universe, also left the organisation recently. There does seem to be some let's say turbulence within the organisation now that we've got new owners. So let's just see how that plays out. Having said that, I thought that the finals night show was absolutely incredible, and it was a wonderful end befitting the great pageant that has been hosted by El Salvador. I'm always thrilled that when the pageant is held outside of the United States, and the contestants really were shown a wonderful showcase of the hospitality of the country. They got to see a lot of the sights, but also got to understand how much progress the country is making, which was also relayed by President Bukele in the telecast. Anyway, on to the competition, and we had the first announcement of the top 20. And not to make it about me, but I was thrilled that I correctly predicted 15 out of the top 20, plus 2 wildcards that I'd had in my predictions, and those were Peru and Spain. Now, I also had what I called some outside chances in that predictions video, and they were Nepal and Pakistan, but I understand that they probably can't be counted either. Namibia was the only one out of the top 20 that I didn't select in one form or another, and I had followers on Instagram and viewers here on YouTube saying that you better watch out for Namibia because she's going to surprise everyone, and you were absolutely correct. So congratulations to her, and congratulations to the whole top 20. It was probably one that I would say was devoid of any massive surprises as we have had in the last couple of years. Nonetheless, we had a number of trailblazers which made the top 20, which was amazing. We had Pakistan, who was the first woman ever to represent her country at Miss Universe, and the first then to compete on finals night in a bikini, which was really wonderful to see. We had Spain, the first woman of colour representing her country at Miss Universe, who also ended up winning Miss Congeniality, which was great to see. Portugal became the first trans woman to make the semi-finals. She was, along with the Netherlands, 2 trans women competing this year, having had the first compete at Miss Universe in 2018, Angela Ponce from Spain. We had Colombia, the first married woman and mother, at least in recent times, to make the semi-finals, which was incredible, given that the rule change to allow married women and mothers only came into effect from this year. And finally, we had Nepal make the top 20, which was wonderful. She is arguably the first plus-size contestant, not only to compete at Miss Universe, but also to make the top 20. A few of you noted that there have been contestants in the past that could be classified as curvy or plus size, but I'm not going to get into determining one way or the other. I think in the era of talking about plus size women in the current context, Jane Garrett absolutely was the first to compete, and it was wonderful to see her make the top 20. It was also Cameroon's first time to make the semi-finals in their 4th attempt at the pageant. And it was also incredible to see the home country's El Salvador not only make the top 20, its first semi-final result in 27 years, they also continued on to the top 10, which was a really wonderful reward, not only for her hard work, but also for a wonderful hosting of the pageant. So after the swimsuit competition, we then moved on to the announcement of the top 10. And I'm pleased to say I had 7 out of the top 10 predicted, with the exception of Peru, Spain, and Venezuela. And it's obviously a bit belated to say that I had Venezuela in my top 10 until the very last minute, and then I switched her out. But having said that, congratulations to Diana. As I had mentioned in previous posts on Instagram and here on YouTube, technically Diana was the 5,000th woman to compete on the Miss Universe stage. So congratulations to her for making the top 10. At that point, I thought it was a bit of a shock that we didn't have the USA, India, or South Africa in the top 10, especially South Africa. Some people had her pegged as a potential winner, if not at least reaching the top 5. We obviously had a number of gown changes in the evening gown competition. We had a few contestants retain the same gown. Australia and Colombia come to mind, but we obviously had some spectacular different gowns from Nicaragua, from the Philippines, which I'll get to shortly, Puerto Rico. So I thought that they really saved the best for last. So that was really great to see a fair bit of drama with the gowns in that competition. When the top 5 was being announced, I was thrilled after the first 4 were announced, because I had correctly predicted Australia, Puerto Rico, Nicaragua, and Thailand. And I just had Philippines left on my list, and I had hoped or assumed that she would fill that final spot. Nonetheless, Colombia took that spot. Yeah, it was a little bit of a shock, no doubt, because Michelle was highly favoured by some people to perform well and continue on, and I had predicted that she would actually even reach the top 3. I have my theories on why Philippines did not make the top 5. I thought that her dress, while it was a showstopper, it probably for me didn't really feel the right choice for a Miss Universe finals night. I'm sure it was full of symbolism, which will no doubt be explained in the coming days. And it was great to see that Michelle was one of the gold winners in the Force for Change competition, and also named the Spirit of Carnival award winner, which was the 4th time that award has been awarded. And to this day, I'm still not quite sure what that award is for. But nonetheless, Michelle obviously wanted to continue further in the competition, and it was somewhat of a surprise that she did not get announced in the top 5. On to the top 5 questions, and I got to say that in this round, I didn't feel that many of the contestants actually answered the questions posed to them. And I would say that in this year, as opposed to previous years when contestants have been asked more about world events or world topics, current affairs, etc., the questions really asked were more about being a transformational leader and variations of such. So I was a little surprised that some of the answers were quite generic. It's obviously a huge pressure cooker when you're trying to answer a question on stage in front of thousands of people with millions of people watching on television, and about 500,600,000 on YouTube, as I saw on the Miss Universe channel. So it's understandable, but a little surprising at the same time that they didn't perform as well, maybe, as what they should have. Anyway, at this point, I thought that the top 3 being announced was going to be Thailand, Nicaragua, and Puerto Rico. Obviously, Australia, to my pleasant surprise, was announced in the top 3 along with Thailand and Nicaragua. It's Australia's first top 3 since Jacinta Campbell, who's now known as Jacinta Franklin, reached the top 3 in 2010, which coincidentally was the last time that musician John Legend performed at Miss Universe. I predicted 2 out of the top 3, so I was pretty happy with that. And it was really amazing to see Nicaragua have the crowd on her side, and Nicaragua is just down the road, figuratively, from El Salvador, and so it was great to see the support that she was receiving. It, to me, had echoes of 2011 when Angola had the Portuguese-speaking crowd in Sao Paulo, Brazil, behind her, and really did, in many ways, carry her to the crown, and ultimately was a very similar situation again, which I'll get to more of in a little bit. At this point in the final question, the Queens were asked to name another woman that they would choose to live as for a year. Australia gave a sweet but safe answer in naming her mother. Thailand started well in naming Malala, but I think then, unfortunately, she kind of slipped into some cliches and didn't really round out the answer with a way that she would help contribute to society. I always think back to Catriona Gray, who had an incredible response in the top 3 at Miss Universe 2018, because she brought it back to what she would do as a Miss Universe, and that's ultimately why she won. Whereas the other two at that in that pageant, Venezuela and South Africa, probably didn't really round out the answer with some relevance to their potential role as a new Miss Universe. Then Nicaragua gave an incredible response, and again, with the crowd behind her, spoke about income equality and gender balance, and I thought that really, it ultimately did seal the deal for her. But during the final walk, I was thinking about whether the fact that Sheynise did not speak English at all during the top 3 or top 5 question rounds, whether that would be held against her. Andrea Meza won Miss Universe in 2020, largely speaking Spanish, but she did answer her top 5 question in English to show the her bilingual ability. So I was interested to see if that was going to be held against her. So as I said, I correctly predicted 2 of the top 3, and those 2 ended up being the top 2 that I predicted. Unfortunately, not in the correct order, but Sheynise was nonetheless an incredibly deserving winner. The 7th Miss World crossover to win the Miss Universe title, and she's actually the 3rd to do so since 2018. And coincidentally, the other 2 women to do it in 2018 was Catriona Gray, and in 2020 was Andrea Meza, both of whom were in San Salvador doing commentary for English and Spanish TV, respectively. As I mentioned in my prelims review, when I picked Sheynise as the top performer in that competition, she really had conducted herself impeccably and regally throughout the competition, and that continued on finals night. So despite the fact that I did not predict her as the winner, I absolutely acknowledge that she was the most deserving on the night. Of course, Antonia Porsild of Thailand won Miss Supranational in 2019, and she was hoping to become the first woman in history to win 2 Grand Slam beauty pageant crowns. And she obviously came as close as you could possibly get without setting that record. She did perform incredibly well, and hopefully when she looks back on her efforts over the last couple of weeks, and obviously in the massive preparation that she had building up to the competition, she can be incredibly proud, and I'm sure that the Thai people will be incredibly proud of her also. A lot of people did criticize Antonia for a supposedly lackluster performance in prelims, but I just tend to think that she brought a different type of stage presence. It's not the same type of Latina energy that she brings. It's a bit more of a reserved stage presence. Nonetheless, I thought that on finals night she did step it up a little, and I thought that she brought a lot more of her personality onto the stage. Even when she was announced in certain rounds, she raised a fist in the air, and that was really nice to see, and I thought that she brought out her personality a little bit more, and my goodness, her finals gown tonight was absolutely spectacular. And so we have a brand new Miss Universe. Sheynise Palacios was the first woman from Nicaragua to reach the top 5 at Miss Universe, let alone win the crown. She's also the first first-time winner for her country since Leila Lopes won for Angola, as I mentioned, in 2011. So it really is nice to see a country that has, to a certain extent, got a weak sash, maybe less so now, but it was really nice that the stranglehold that so many of the other top nations, the USA, Philippines, South Africa, Colombia, Venezuela, have had on Miss Universe over the past decade or so is somewhat broken, and we've had a brand new country break through for their first title, the 35th different country to win the Miss Universe crown. And so we are going to Mexico next year. Well, we, as in the pageant community, will be eagerly awaiting the pageant to be held. The 73rd Miss Universe will be held in Mexico in 2024, which was announced in the telecast tonight. Now, this is the 5th time that Mexico will have hosted Miss Universe, and they, outside of the United States, is the country that has hosted Miss Universe the most times. Now, if you recall that the last 2 times that Miss Universe has been held in Mexico, in 1993 and 2007, both times in Mexico City, the crowd has turned on the Miss USA at the time for various reasons, which I will get to in subsequent videos. So let's hope that the Miss USA next year, one stays on her feet during evening gown, but doesn't anger the crowd if Miss Mexico doesn't reach the semi-finals. So anyway, that's all to be revealed at Miss Universe. Not sure exactly where in Mexico it's going to be held and when, but it's going to be very exciting to see the pageant unfold there. And who knows, maybe, I don't know, I may try and get myself there myself. So they are just some initial observations that I thought that I'd share with you immediately following the pageant. As I said, I will get cracking straight away on my post-pageant wrap, and full of all the stats and facts that you come to expect from me, as I said, and I'll get to that. I'll get that to you very shortly. This time last year, I was, as I may have mentioned, I'm recovering from some sinus surgery. This time I'm fully fit, so I will hopefully get it to you a little quicker than I did last time. Anyway, let's congratulate our brand new Miss Universe, Shanice Palacios of Nicaragua, and the whole country of Nicaragua for their breakthrough victory. Until I'm back with my post-pageant wrap, this is the Pageant Nerd. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.